Welcome to this edition of Empowered 305. With us today is not just a special guest, but someone that I can relate to probably as family, right?
Absolutely.
His name is Lieutenant Alejandro Camacho from the Florida Highway Patrol. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
So a lot of people see you because you are the lieutenant and spokesperson
Right.
for Florida Highway Patrol in the South Florida region, correct?
For Miami-Dade and Monroe County, yes.
Lots of people see you, and lots of people probably want to ask certain questions, right?
For sure.
I have a lot of questions to ask today.
Good.
You were born in Miami?
Born and raised, yes. Mercy Hospital, right up the street, yes.
Oh, well, you're right outside our city
right
hall.
here. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you're home.
Yeah, homegrown.
No lie, yeah, you're
Homegrown,
homegrown.
305, been here since, never left. We're here, yeah. So I think the role is even more fitting because, you know, I am Miami, right? I'm the culture, and, you know, I think it's important for the position that I have, yeah.
It's important that people understand the things that you guys do. And
Right.
Florida Highway Patrol right now, wow, everyone, you guys are like taking,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of things happening out on the road.
Mhm.
I think one of the things that we see, and it's probably viral, right, at this point, is the drag racing, right?
Yeah, the street takeovers, the drag racing, and what's made it kind of, I think, go up in popularity is the recent legislation that was passed towards it, right? Towards like the violations and what people can be charged with now. So I think we've been seeing the spike in the violations, right, where these takeovers are occurring. People are kind of taking over intersections. Extremely dangerous. You know, you're interrupting the flow of traffic. If there's somebody with a medical emergency, now they can't get through. So a lot of concern from the public, and rightfully so. And so we're taking a pretty aggressive stance on it. We've done a couple of task forces on it, and we've been pretty successful so far as getting the message out as well. So that's part of the things you're seeing that are FHP related.
So you cross jurisdictions with City of Miami, right?
Yeah.
And I know we play a huge role as well.
Of course, yeah, of course.
We've been helping each other out for years.
Always, yes.
And I think that it's important that people understand that FHP has the state roads and the interstates.
Right.
But how important it is for someone like us, City of Miami, to immediately respond to back you guys up, and vice versa.
Yeah, well, yeah, vice versa, yeah. So our main responsibility is, like you said, the highways, right? The state roads, the interstates. Just overall, we prioritize in traffic enforcement, right? But we, like you said, our jurisdictions, or we have statewide jurisdiction, but our roadways of responsibilities, or our areas of responsibilities, cross into the city limits of Miami, right? Miami Beach, all these areas where we rely heavily on those partnerships for not just, you know, a backup call, but for just overall, community engagement, things like that, backup calls. We rely on those partnerships heavily, and for sure, I can tell you stories of where City of Miami officers have been there for me throughout the years when I was on patrol, and because a lot of the Interstate 95, 836, they all, even US 1 cross into Miami city limits. So definitely grateful for those partnerships, and we definitely rely on City of Miami for sure.
Yeah, through the years, obviously, we've always backed each other
Yeah.
up. When I met you, I remember you were a sergeant, I believe. You were a sergeant
Yeah,
at the time.
yeah.
And I've seen you grow through the rank. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And may you continue to soar
Thank
in
you.
your career.
Thank you.
Did you always want to be a cop?
Always, yeah. Well, I think maybe when I was a little kid, maybe, I think I wanted to be like an architect because I always loved like buildings and stuff. But once I got a little older, I've always had a respect for law enforcement. I've always really admired the profession. My brother's a law enforcement officer. My father served in the military as soon as he got here from Cuba. So as far as like government organization, I've always respected, and I've always really admired it, and I've always wanted to give back, right, and contribute in whatever way I could. So I would say, yeah, I always wanted to be a police officer for sure. And then the state troopers, when you're young, they had the cool cars, the hats and stuff. So
you guys won Car of the Year again,
Yes,
second year in a row, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
second year in a row.
awesome car.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. So that, I think, may have kind of influenced my decision to maybe go the state trooper route, but really,
they have the cool cars?
well, no, because when growing up, right, like you see the cool cars, you see the hats, and they have a reputation for looking sharp, and when you're a little kid, that
Right,
makes
yeah.
that much more of
Of
an
course it
impact,
is,
right?
yeah.
So, but yeah, the department has been great to me, and like you said, I've gone up the ranks. I've done a little bit of everything, and I'm super grateful and just overall happy to give back. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in high school, we used to have a state trooper that used to live inside a mobile
Yes.
home
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
on the premises.
Right. Yeah.
That's been over and done.
Yeah.
with,
I don't
right?
think we have those anymore. Where they used to have housing for troopers in like the
Right.
RVs or the mobile homes in school or school-owned properties. But no, we're not. They don't. I don't think that's
Oh,
still
they used
around.
to
Yeah.
drive 5.0s back then.
Yeah,
I
yeah, the
remember
Mustangs. Yeah, yeah,
5.0s
yeah,
were
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
So I know that, and your department has changed so much. You
Yes.
have your director that just said, "Hey guys, go after these people."
I think it's under the, everything has to align. Ultimately, we work for our boss is, the governor, right? And his thing is law and order and holding people accountable for crimes or whatever violations. And our director's in line with that. And that's why you're seeing, you mentioned the street takeovers, but you're seeing a lot of stuff on social media and on traditional media on the news every day. I mean, I feel like there's a trooper on TV every day for just doing his job. And now they're just, it's standing out a little bit more because we're kind of doing these pit maneuvers more.
Right.
It could be a pit maneuver, or it could be just overall like intentional contact, stopping a wrong way driver. And it's stuff that when you see it, every time you see like a pursuit on TV or with the helicopter live, everybody's always tuned in to see what's going to happen. So you're seeing a lot of that now, and I think it's under the directive of our new director, Executive Director Kerner and Colonel Gary Howes. Just they really have allowed troopers, empowered them, and trusted them with their
Right.
training, and allowed them to take these actions. And no matter what, they have an obligation to stop these violators that are fleeing. And I think while they're doing that, it also sends a message to just what it always should be, right? Respect law enforcement overall, and just do the right thing.
And that's not just here in South Florida. That's practically statewide.
Statewide,
right?
yeah, statewide.
It's we're seeing it, and we're seeing it. And obviously, what new laws can you talk to me about that play a big role here in South Florida per se?
I think most recently is the street takeover stuff, right? Where you can be charged for if you're contributing in a street takeover, it's a felony. If you're spectating, you can be charged for spectating.
Yeah, spectators is a big thing.
And so now your vehicle can be towed. I think just recently, those are some of the bigger laws that stand out to some of the issues that we're seeing, right, and that we're able to address now, which is why we're doing these takedowns of the takeover operations, whether it's on the intelligence side or on the whatever resources we have to utilize that we can combat this. But I think mainly it's the laws that were passed recently related to the street takeovers.
That left lane, that it's supposed to be
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a passing
That
lane.
actually passed too. Not maybe in this last legislation, but so the left lane, I try to explain to people because people think the left lane is like just the go fast lane, or
Yeah. Well, it kind of used to be, right?
well, they used to call it the hammer lane or the anyway. So the left lane, if you read the statute, it says, and there's signs actually on interstates if you're traveling like through Florida. There's signs that say, stay off or slower traffic, keep right, I think it says. But the statute basically just says the left lane should only be utilized when you're passing another car, right? When you're overtaking, it'll say. Or when and there has to be at least 2 lanes on the roadway, right? So if you break it down, what it's trying to say is everybody should be on the right lane.
No. Good luck.
Right. So what happens is we have people that are kind of camped out on the left lane, and then that creates more problems, right? That leads to congestion, that leads to road rage incidents, which we're seeing a lot of too.
Yes, that's bad.
Yeah, and so it might clutter up that lane for emergency response vehicles that need to get through. So the statute basically says you stay on that right lane unless you're passing another car, or unless directed by an officer to get on that left lane.
How about those people that are now taking the bus lane on the 836?
I haven't seen it. There's cars that are actually like
Really?
I haven't seen it. No,
I have.
I've seen buses.
All the time on my way to work.
And it doesn't really specify what kind of bus, but I've seen like the transit buses. I've seen like coach buses.
I've seen coach buses.
It just says bus,
It
so I
says
guess
bus.
it might fall under, in general, bus. But for sure, it's going to be used for firefighters or police response always.
Right. Yeah.
And that was part of the concern when we had some meetings and stuff with Department of Transportation engineers and stuff. Or some of the conversations that I was involved in, it was always a concern. Well, what are we going to do with, if a vehicle's broken down there, or who's going to clean that always, or what if regular cars get on that? So those are always things that kind of go into planning. But I can tell you, I haven't really seen anybody like on a regular car go through there. Luckily.
When I'm in traffic and I'm on my way to work, oh boy, do I see it.
You do?
On occasions, of course, I just alert them and tell them, you shouldn't be doing that. You're not an emergency vehicle.
Right.
You kind of give them that that warning. But
you educate them.
I educate them, yes. And I think primarily we probably see that because I drive an unmarked car.
Right. Yeah.
And then people just try to get away from traffic.
For sure.
They become impatient. What do you tell those drivers that are approaching the holiday season, and we see a lot on the interstate going probably up north or down south to the Keys? What advice can you give them to be cautious, to avoid tickets?
Maybe not so much to avoid tickets, but like you said, during the holidays, it's usually people tend to travel in their cars more. So I would say on the safety side, right, make sure your first line of defense in your car is your tires. So make sure your tires are good, right? Make sure you don't have any recalls on your car, so you don't find yourself stranded with your family with all your luggage on the side of the road. Being on the side of the road is a scary place to be stranded. Yes. So I would say on the safety side, just make sure everything with your car as far as your equipment is on point, right? On the law enforcement side, I would say if you're going to be traveling during the holidays, right, obviously obey the speed limits, wear your seatbelts, things like that, move over for law enforcement, all these basic things that you constantly hear. But the thing that we constantly have to remind people of is, drinking and driving, right, during the holidays. Huge. It's a very festive period, right? Everybody's, wanting to celebrate. So just planning ahead, right, just having a very basic plan. And it's just boils down to not, if you know you're going to drink, don't drive. If you know you're going to drive, don't drink. Or utilize the ride share. And also distracted driving, putting those devices down.
That is, I have stories about that. Yeah. Not too long ago, I had a young lady who was holding up traffic, and there was a dump truck right behind her. And I'm thinking, it's him, not her. So and he signals me and tells me it's her. So I look up to her, and what she was doing was she was texting. So I looked at her, and I alerted her, and then she looked at me. You know what she did? She threw the phone in the back seat. Really? She did. She threw the phone in the back seat. Good. But those things, the texting and driving, that's huge. And that's causing so many accidents. And we see it. A lot of rear end collisions. You must have a lot of stories. And fatal stories too. Big time.
And just also, like you said, being caught at a red light or something, you don't realize that you just went through an entire cycle from a red light to a green light. And that's how deep into that text or whatever you're doing that your mind is, that you're not even aware of your situational awareness is gone. And so that also creates road rage problems, people honking the horn or something like that. So
and there's hands-free abilities now. Yeah. I use speech to text quite often, and that helps me. But it's just put it down, and it's true. And you guys are pretty good about, and FDOT, about putting campaigns up on the overheads, and you've been instrumental with us for the last few years doing PSAs, and it's about getting the message across. Of course.
Another law that changed is involving the move over law, where when it was originally in place, it was for first responder vehicles, right, for police vehicles with their emergency lights on, fire trucks, and just giving them that space they need to do their job when they're providing that critical service on the side of the road. But just recently, the law changed where now you have to move over for any disabled vehicle, right? That's showing emergency signage, like their hazard lights on, or anybody that might have their hood popped open or something where you can tell their car is disabled. Now you have to move over for them as well. So I would just make it simple. If you see a car on the side of the road, regardless of what it is, just move over.
Road rangers too. Everyone.
Yeah, of course. So that you're not asking yourself, well, should I move over? Should I not? Just if you see a car on the side of the road, just move over. It's not really just a courtesy. It's the law.
I want to thank you so much. What would you tell a younger Alejandro Camacho?
Oh, wow. Trust the process, I guess, right? Everything will work out. And everybody, or everybody tells you, believe in yourself. You could do whatever you want. And even through the times of where you're not sure what you're kind of navigating through. It's true. Everything kind of works out, and you really can do or achieve your goals, So
you're a family man. You balance family, you balance work.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know you have a beautiful family.
Thank you.
And your brother works with me.
He
Worked
does.
with me for many years, my entire career of law enforcement.
He does.
A very, very good Miami cop. Kudos to you, my friend. I know you're following in his footsteps. So
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
awesome.
No,
you
for
could have
sure.
come to work with us, but I get it.
No, he's
You guys have cool
he's
cars.
been influential. He's been a good role model,
That's awesome,
definitely, and
yeah.
he's always given me the right advice, honest advice, and I needed it for sure. And so I'm thankful for him as well. Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you have an open invitation to come back. And
Thank you.
I'm going to continue bugging you for PSAs.
For sure. Let's do it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for
Of
being
course.
here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
And that's a wrap for this edition of Empowered 305. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.